Alright, so what you're looking at here is a 2000 Jeep Cherokee, the XJ. And the head's off of it, obviously. Originally, the person who owned it said he thought it had a blown head gasket. And I kind of figured it wasn't that, just because on 2000 and 2001, on these 4.0s, it's the head casting 0331. They have issues with the actual head cracking. The early years from 99 on down don't have that issue, and 2001 had it, and then after 2001 they went to a different casting that's TUPY casting, and that one is good. And anyway, I'm going to show you the head and what where the crack's at, and show you the surface. The head gasket was pretty wore out from the head cracked and leaking for probably a long time. This car's got, I think, about 130,000 on it. They usually go 100 to, I mean, it depends, but usually 100, 120,000 they'll crack, and then you're stuck with you know, that issue. Now 99, you really can't use that head. You can use that head on this engine, but then you don't have the bosses for the coil packs. And I believe there might be a slight difference in the way the exhaust manifold mounts up. So your best bet, if you have a cracked head, is to get the TUPY casting, and those are from like 02 to 05, I think. The head that I got off of at the junkyard's off a 04 Grand Cherokee. Now the Grand Cherokees are a little harder to do. Both of these are pretty easy, straightforward, but the Grand Cherokee, the cowl area comes up over the back of the head a little more. So it's a little, there's not as much access on the Grand Cherokee. On the Cherokee, it's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to show you how to do the head gasket on that. There's plenty of videos on YouTube floating around on that. The only thing that, I'll just point out a few things. On the back, very back bolt, driver's side, you cannot pull out while the head is installed. You have to pull the head and that bolt out at the same time. So you just loosen that bolt up, and then when you pull the head out, that'll come with it. And then when you put it back in, make sure that it's back, that bolt is back in. That it hits the firewall, and there's no way to get it out without taking the head out with it. The other thing is, on the very first hole here, driver's side, very first hole, this goes directly into a water jacket. And I like to, when I do these, I like to put a little bit of RTV on the bolt and on the jacket of the bolt, just to help seal a little bit better. It's maybe not 100% necessary, but I always do it. I've never had a problem with it. But you know, this hole here is directly into a water jacket, so that's the only bolt that I do that on. And then, as always, make sure that you blow all your bolts out with compressed air, both holes. If there's any water in these, when you reinstall it, you won't torque it right, because the water will not compress. So make sure, obviously you're going to clean your surface up like this one is, and then you're going to blow out all your holes and make sure they're clean. So that's all I'm going to basically say about this. It's a pretty straightforward job. Not a whole lot of you know, you just remove your exhaust manifold and intake manifold. That comes off as one unit. Now the lower bolts are kind of a pain to get to. I just use a socket and a swivel and extension. I can get to them, but they are a pain. The AC, you have two bolts right here that come off the bracket. Those bolt directly into the head. You have to take those off. You don't have to remove your AC. I just kind of loosen and move it off to the side because I was having trouble getting access to those bolts, but it's not 100% necessary. And then the only other thing is you have your power steering pump. 3 bolts hold that in. Set that off to the side. That helps you get to the bolts down here on the exhaust manifold a little bit easier. And then you have your water neck in the front, and that's pretty much it, I think. Besides your coil packs, and I even left my fuel injectors plugged in and stuff. There's no reason to take all that off, in my opinion. So, and then you got your throttle cables. A couple of bolts hold that in, and that's pretty much it. It's a pretty straightforward, easy job. Just make sure that if you have a 2000, 2001 Cherokee or Grand Cherokee with the 4.0 in it, make sure that your head is not cracked. So I'm going to take you over to the head and show you that, go over that, and then we'll just end this out. This is more of an informational video as far as the head problems they have, not so much how to do the job. like I said before, there's plenty of videos on that, and it's pretty straightforward. So let me get you over to that head, and I'll show you where the crack's at, and show you the bottom of it, and then I'll show you the new head. Alright, so this is the old head. You can see here, it's been pretty rough shape. You can tell it's been running hot and had issues for quite a while, it looks like. Now this is the bottom of it. You're not going to see a whole lot here. The crack's on the top. Alright, so under the file cover here, here's that casting number 0331. Now this is the head you want to stay away from in the junkyards or anywhere. This is the one that cracks all the time. Made them for 2 years. And if you look at it, in between number 3 and number 4 cylinder here, try to get you a better shot of it. Alright, so it's cracked right here. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but you can see a line right here. This is where they all crack. It'll be discolored. You'll see a long line that goes from almost the top of the valve, bottom of the valve spring here, down, and it wraps all the way around and goes down, and that's where they crack. And you can see, like here on the number 3 cylinder, you know, there's no lines, clean, there's no discoloration. But on this cylinder here, you can see, hopefully the camera's picking that up, there's discoloration all through here, and there's a long line. It's not a huge crack. Like, you're not going to see like a massive crack. It's just going to be a small hairline crack like that. Now here's the new head, and you'll want to look for the TUPY, which is, if you take the, alright, if you're in the junkyard looking for one of these heads, you can take the oil cap filler off on the valve cover and look down here between number 3 and number 4 cylinders, and you'll see that TUPY. Those are probably the best heads you can get from the factory for these 4.0s, and these come in 021 up 4.0s, and you can see, hopefully, there's no cracks anywhere. They're all exactly the same. Very clean on the inside of this head. The other head obviously was leaking water and all that good stuff. So anyway, that is what you want to look for at the junkyard. If you have an 00 and up, I would not get the 99 on down head because it does not have the bosses. You see here's the bosses for the valve, for the coil packs. The older ones did not have that because they had a distributor. So you have to work up something with that. And I think there's a small issue with the gasket on the exhaust manifold. I'm not 100% sure on that because I've never tried to put a 99 or older on the newer ones, but I have heard that's an issue as well. And 02 and up should have these TUPY heads on there, and if you get one of those, you should be good to go. These are a lot better head, and you shouldn't have any issue with them cracking. They do say to reuse the head bolts on these, and then the gasket itself. Alright, well, I think I said they want you to reuse the head bolts. I didn't mean to say that. That's what I said. I actually meant to say they want you to get new head bolts for this head. These head bolts or studs are 12.13 millimeter, and this is the head, the new head back in. So that's just all I wanted to say on this video. Is if you have an 2001 and you got an overheating problem, and you know, maybe oil in your, or cooling your oil, etc. It's probably not a head gasket. It's probably the cracked head. It's extremely common on these. Pretty certain almost all of them do it. So you're probably not going to get away with just getting a good one. And that's that casting 0331. And the best factory head from my research through the years of Jeeps, I've had 2 of these Jeeps in the past. The TUPY or the TUPY head is the best head to get from the factory. There is a few companies that make aftermarket heads that are pretty pricey, kind of pricey. I don't think it's necessary on a 4.0 engine like this. It's basically stock. There's plenty of these TUPY heads in the junkyard that you can grab, and you know, you'll be fine with it. Those go a couple 100,000 miles, no issues. So this head I think was like $68 in the junkyard, and it was off a wrecked Grand Cherokee, So I knew, and relatively low miles too. And as you can see, the head is real clean inside. So whoever had that Grand Cherokee took care of it, got the oil changed in it, and it had no cooling issues just by how clean it is. So anyway, that's about it. That's all I want to say on that. If you have any other questions or anything about these Cherokee heads, you can email me or message me. Quickest way is through YouTube, email. And I think that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back together. And I got a few other things I need to do to this. So daylight's burning. I got to get back to work. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the next one. And as always, God bless.